What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So I thought this would be an appropriate video right now with all the focus on, a lot of focus at least, on politics. The NBA is during the off season right now. Um, Football season hasn't started yet. Baseball is sort of like in the doldrums right now as far as it's in the middle of the summer. A lot of people nowadays really don't even follow baseball until the playoffs. So right now, with the exception of the Olympics, there's not a lot going on in sports. So right now, what's dominating the headlines is this political race. And in some ways, this political race has become almost like a reality TV show with some of the side characters and some of the back and forth. Social media has basically made a mockery of the electoral process, man. It's not even about issues. It's about personalities. But we did this. We did this to the political process. We dumbed it down. And when I say we, I'm talking about us as consumers, us as voters, the people who are elected. They purposely have dumbed this stuff down. So now it's a battle of personalities. And whether or not a person is really black or racist or from this country or you know it's about all these different side things and not about the actual issues at hand. But regardless of all of that, right, sports and politics have become interwoven, and you see a lot of a lot of athletes, excuse me, are going out and endorsing different candidates. Like Steph Curry just endorsed Kamala Harris. You've seen various athletes, if not pledge their support for Trump, indicate to you that they probably support Trump in some ways, right? And the name calling has begun. Some people calling Steph Curry, a term that rhymes with moon. People that say they're going to vote for Trump, of course, they're going to be called that. So that just goes to show you that no matter what you do, no matter how popular you may be, if you get into the world of politics, if you get into that realm, you're going to alienate people. Although I do truly believe people have short-term memories. All Steph Curry got to do is hit a game-winning shot here or there in the Olympics or during the regular season, and all can be forgotten because people got short-term memories anyway. But anyway, with all that, now you're beginning to see why Michael Jordan stayed away from that stuff, while largely Kobe Bryant stayed away for the most part. Um, because if you're trying to be a successful businessman, um, I mean, you can do it to a certain extent. Like LeBron just has this, he gets the ultimate pass for some reason. You know what I'm saying? This is the same dude that endorsed Hillary Clinton, but somehow Steph Curry is being called to turn the rounds with Moon for endorsing Kamala. But the same dudes didn't have that same smoke for LeBron, who openly stood next to Hillary and endorsed her when she was campaigning in Ohio. Ultimately, she lost Ohio by like 7 or 8 points too. So clearly, his endorsement had no effect on the electorate. Uh, but he gets a pass. But anyway, like I say, that's another video for another day. But now you see why Michael Jordan didn't go down that route, man, because it doesn't really benefit you. It wouldn't benefit him. Because no matter who he picks or how he would present his argument, and I know this from experience, there's always going to be people who are lazy with their research, who are lazy with actually, or incapable of actually arguing with you as far as what you're talking about. So what they do is they try to shift it and make it about your blackness. You know what I'm saying? Uh, they're going to question you and call you, oh man, how could you support her, man? I always knew you was this and that or whatever. And and it's getting to a point. And I said this. I was talking to somebody earlier about this, man. That it's getting to a point where the term that rhymes with moon or muck dancer, the term that rhymes with that, or being called a sellout or whatever, it's getting to a point where these terms are beginning to lose their meaning because you could have a long history of being a champion for your people, for people agreeing with you. I mean, the track record is there. But if you say one thing that people don't agree with, that automatically erases everything that you've done and said for and stood for. And that's why I say that we got Stockholm syndrome, and we are our own worst enemy. We often show our self hatred, and we don't realize it because that's what our captors. That's what they do. No matter how much good we do, we do one thing, and we hold it over. Excuse me, they hold it over our heads for the rest of our lives. But we do the same damn thing. We do the same thing. Jim Brown was a champion for his people for decades. He has a dinner with Trump, and all of a sudden, he's that. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Ice Cube. Same thing with anybody. Anybody. You know what I'm saying? If you do anything that people don't agree with, that's what they're gonna do. So it didn't even benefit Michael Jordan to ever publicly come out and say this or say that. It would never benefited him, even back then, because it was going to offend somebody. And people got to remember, Jordan was a businessman. Is still a businessman, but he was an active player, and he was promoting so many different products. I mean, Gatorade, Hanes underwear, Wheaties, Rayovac batteries, ballpark hot dogs. Uh, some car he was even I forgot the car company he was with. Was it Volkswagen? So I remember he was endorsing some car company. I can't remember which one it was. But yeah, he was endorsing so many different products. And you know, look, when you're a businessman, especially a black dude, it kind of don't pay to do that because you're gonna offend somebody. Somebody gonna have an issue with something that you said, and it's just gonna be a distraction. It's just gonna be a distraction. And back then, Mike wouldn't have had people like me and others taking up for him on social media. Back then, the the mainstream media, they were the media. And if you did or said something that they didn't agree with, ultimately you pay the price. And also you got to remember Michael Jordan was playing in an era that wasn't quite as politically driven as today's world is. Like there was a lull on that in the 90s. Like you didn't really have too many high profile athletes speaking out on issues. You didn't really see that. And to be honest with you, a lot of athletes didn't feel like that was their responsibility. No, Charles Barkley said, "I'm not a role model." Uh, that stuff should begin at home with the kid, with your parents and your loved ones and your teachers and people like that. Back when we actually still had the church and the community being dominant, church leaders and things like they're the people that should be role models, not athletes. They shouldn't be role models. And many athletes back then felt like, how I vote or who I support is my personal business. But it's gotten to a point now where we have such a pervasive society. Everybody believes they have a right to know everybody else's business, but they want to keep theirs private. But the thing is, Michael Jordan did do things. He did donate money. The public initially hated him, man. You know what I'm saying? But Ali was he was despised by the media at first. Despised. He changed his name. He joined what some people thought was a weird cult, the Nation of Islam. They didn't understand these things. He started openly criticizing American foreign policy, spoke on social justice issues, spoke on racism, and they weren't used to this. They weren't used to a black man being so unapologetically, well, black. They used to Joe Louis. And I'm not knocking Joe Louis because Joe Louis came from a different era. But they used to a Joe Louis, a guy just, keeping his rage to himself. Keeping his rage to himself and, donating 10% of his purse to the guy he beat to get the title and being, pillaged and robbed blind by the United States government. That's what he used to. But ultimately, Ali's opinions and a lot of things he was saying turned out to be prophetic and they became true. The war was a bad idea. A lot of things were going on in the community. And a lot of people, Ali's determination and courage and his perseverance, people like Malcolm X and Dr. King and, H. Rap Brown, Stokely Carmichael, people like that, they gave Fred Hampton, they gave our people the courage to speak up and speak out more and not to fall victim to self-hatred and be told that you're not attractive and, because your nose is larger or you're dark skinned or you got big lips and you got good hair, you're supposed to feel like you're ugly and all of that stuff. No, he said we're black is beautiful. And the whole culture changed. That's why I'm so disturbed by some of the things I'm seeing today, man. Like, anyway, I hate to go into a whole nother topic with that, man. But yeah, Michael Jordan knew that he wasn't Muhammad Ali. He didn't have the knowledge of his people, Africa, Black history. That's just that wasn't his thing. It wouldn't be authentic. You know what I'm saying? So we admire Michael Jordan as the athlete. Now, could you argue or say that maybe he should have been more vocal about some things? Yeah, you could make that case, absolutely. But we wouldn't have looked at him the same way. So Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan. He was who he's supposed to be. So that's all I got to say about that, man. You know what I'm saying? Now people are seeing what the way people are criticizing some of these athletes for taking political positions or speaking out on certain things and the backlash. And now you're seeing why Michael Jordan didn't get engaged into all that type of stuff. Anyway, tell me what you guys think.